And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Hello, and thanks for watching today's marine segment. We'll start it off with a look at sea ice edge. The sea ice analysis, really no ice edge at all. Just starting to see some ice showing up here to the north, coming down a little bit beyond the label. Also have a little bit of ice forming along stretches of the coastline there. Nothing too extensive, but it looks like now the trend will be for the areas to continue to slowly increase now as we head in toward the latter part of October. And from there, looking at the forecast for tonight, low slowly weakens, tracks up to the Kodiak Island area. Gusty northwest winds following behind, gale force northwest winds for the eastern Aleutians, the Alaska Peninsula. Gales, definitely, maybe even storm force winds here ahead of this front as it pushes out, bringing rain heavy at times to the southeast coast, wet and windy for the North Gulf Coast, and even some areas of rain across Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, maybe the southern Susitna Valley, dry to the north. For the outlook tomorrow, tomorrow afternoon, that low tracks into the Gulf of Alaska just south of Montague Island and fills about 10 millibars from earlier, and yet another surge of moisture keeps it wet and windy over the southeast coast as the front moves into western Canada and weakens there. Not too bad in the interior, in fact dry to the north and just some scattered shower activity in areas down to the south. Troughs here out to the west, mostly out over the water off the coastline, except for this one here. Gusty winds and rain and showers for the Alaska Peninsula, maybe a little bit of light snow for St. Lawrence Island. Next system out here to the west brings some rain into the Aleutians. And then on Friday, that actually breaks up here into a couple of weak centers here, actually this center here over the Bering Sea. And this system comes up off the chart here, next strong system that takes off to the east toward the Queen Charlotte Islands by Saturday afternoon. High pressure, light winds, pretty fair skies, Seward Peninsula down across Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta into Bristol Bay. Kodiak Island mostly sunny, some areas of light snow up here from the central interior out to the northwest coast, the western Arctic coast as well, some flurries right along the central and eastern Beaufort Sea coastlines. Scattered snow showers over the eastern interior. Rain with this front pushes into the panhandle. Heaviest rain and wind will be down to the south, but neither will be all that heavy. And a strong system here coming in just south of Adak and Atka. It looks like Sunday morning tracks to just south of the eastern Aleutians, becoming quite intense again actually. And storm force winds and high-end gales blowing all around that center. By contrast, high pressure in over the interior, keeping winds light and skies mostly clear and definitely dry. Maybe some snow showers over the upper Tanana Valley from the eastern Alaska Range northward there toward Eagle and along the Arctic coast. This low tracks southeastward and by Sunday evening is going to track off the chart there, as this one by Sunday evening tracks to near Sitkinak Island at a pressure somewhere around 966 millibars. Looking at the forecast here again, southwest flow keeps it wet over the panhandle here. 30 knots out of the southwest over the central and south coast with 14 to 16 foot seas. 20 to 25 knot winds from the southwest to southeast from the north coast, and south 25, Lynn Canal Glacier Bay, Stevens Passage, seas 5 feet. Gale warnings for Clarence Strait, south winds 35 knots, seas 7 feet. And for the day on Friday, winds stay southwest here out along the coast, 20 knots in the north, 25 knots here to the south, seas up to 21 feet in the central and south coast, and 14 to 19 feet here for the north coast. Lynn Canal south at 25, south 25 for Stevens Passage, Clarence Strait, winds down to 20 knots from the south. And for the North Gulf Coast, for the western North Gulf Coast, northeast winds of 15 knots, seas 12 feet. East winds of 20 for Prince William Sound, seas 3 feet, and the eastern North Gulf Coast, winds definitely lighter than today, southeast 15 to 20 with seas 12 to 13 feet, and variable winds 15 knots in Cook Inlet, west winds at 20 for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands. And then for the day on Friday, light variable winds, Prince William Sound and the eastern North Gulf Coast at 10 knots. Seas out here on the coastline, though, still up to 10 to 11 feet. Northwest to 20 with 10-foot seas for the western North Gulf Coast. And a stiff northwest wind at 30 knots here for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands with 8-foot seas. Southern Cook Inlet, west at 20, variable at 10 with slight seas for northern Cook Inlet. Kodiak Island, small craft advisories tomorrow. West to southwest winds 25 to 30 knots. West at 30 for Bristol Bay with 7-foot seas. And west winds 30 to 40 knots to the Alaska Peninsula with seas running 9 to 15 feet. For Friday, Alaska Peninsula, north to northwest winds 15 to 20 knots, seas down to 3 to 7 feet now. West at 20 for Bristol Bay, west 25, Kodiak Island, those seas 6 to 10 feet. For the Fox Islands, split it in half there. On Alaska Island, gale warnings, west winds 35 to 40 knots. Unimak Island, west winds 25 knots. Adak and Atka, southeast winds at 20 knots. Amchitka Island, southeast winds 20 to 25 knots. And then for the area Kiska to Shimia, northwest and northeast winds at 30 knots. And for Friday, for the western Aleutians, west-northwest winds 25 to 30 knots. West to north winds for the central Aleutians at 25 knots. And east-northeasterlies down to 15 knots for the Fox Islands. And for the southwest coast, north winds 15 to 20 knots tomorrow. That goes for St. Lawrence Island and Norton Sound as well. Northwest 30-knot winds there for the Pribilof, seas 11 feet. Northwest 25 for St. Matthew Island. And then for Friday, light variable winds here for the Pribilofs, seas down to 5 feet, and southwest at 20 for St. Matthew Island. West winds 25 knots for Norton Sound, St. Lawrence Island, and the Yukon Delta coast with seas up to 7 feet here, and northwest 25 for the Kuskokwim Delta coastline with 6-foot seas. And for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, we've got gale warnings for east winds here, 30 to 35 knots, seas 7 to 8 feet. East at 25 for the central coast, seas 5 feet. Northeast at 20 for the western Arctic coast with 4 to 5-foot seas. And the Chukchi Sea, north winds 15 to 20 knots. And for the day Friday, for the Chukchi Sea in the northern areas, winds will be east at 15, farther to the south, west at 15. And for the western Arctic coast, we got east winds 20 to 30 knots, east at 30. It's good small craft advisories to the central coast with 7-foot seas. And east winds 30 to 35 knots to the eastern Beaufort Sea coastline with seas still up to 7 feet.